Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and boy, I have just a beautiful, emotional song to go over with you today. You probably saw it on the podcast player. It is called Rain, and as I recall, this was the last song on the first side of the LP, at least on the version that I had. But it's a very touching song, very emotional. A bit of a personal story. When I used to work, my first actual job was at a place called Dunkin' Donuts. It was the first place I worked and got an actual paycheck for. I had to get a work permit to be allowed to work there because I was only 14 at the time. But at that time, that was when I was kind of discovering this album. And I had a little cassette player, and I used to listen to it at work. And my job, because I was so young, I couldn't serve customers or work behind the counter or anything like that because of the laws. But I basically cleaned everything. So I was out sweeping the parking lot, taking out the coffee trash bags, cleaning the kitchen, that sort of thing. And I used to listen to this album in Michigan. Many times it would be drizzly, on the verge of raining, whether I was on my way to or from work. And it was like the perfect season to have a song like this in my rotation. And ironically, it has been raining on and off all day today. It actually snowed here in parts of Vegas over in the Summerlin area as we get closer to Red Rock Canyon and Mount Charleston and that. Didn't snow over on my end, just had rain on and off all day. So what a perfect day to record this episode, right? Now, I want to thank everybody who's been sending emails in about the show. I know I'm getting a little bit behind on getting back to you. Some of you guys are sending me very lengthy emails that are going to take me some time to get through. And the longer the show goes, the more episodes that are out there, the more emails I'm getting because people are just discovering the show. So they're emailing me about shows I did in season 1 and 2. So it's starting to pile up a little bit. I promise I will get everyone answered as quickly as I can. So there's that. The other thing is, if you guys are interested in the giveaways that I'm going to be doing monthly, kind of figured out some things for prizes. And the only way to really get on that list to have your name entered in the drawing is, well, there's really 2 ways. If you are a member of the Patreon account, you will get 2 entries into every single drawing automatically. You don't have to do anything else. The other way to get in is to sign up for the email list at Uriah Heep podcast at gmail.com. And if you just sign up for the mailing list, then your name will be entered for 1 entry into the drawing. And that's it, because I tried the Facebook thing and it's not showing me all the names. So that didn't work out as well as I had hoped, whether, I looked at groups and I looked at like pages and neither one of them really does it. So that didn't work out. The other challenge was I wanted to give away a Uriah Heep album every month, but they're not all available. So if you said, well, I want this album as my prize and it's not available, now I'm kind of stuck. But I figured out what I'm going to do, and I'm going to offer a couple of different options to the winner. Once someone has won, then I will contact you directly, and we'll go from there as far as the prizes go. But it's going to be all Uriah Heep related cool stuff, no matter what. Now, let's see. So that's all of that. Now we're going to get into the song. It's definitely a really emotional song. I've turned off all the lights in the studio. I have a candle and some Christmas lights on, really kind of just like a cozy, dismal atmosphere. And it seems like the perfect mood to set to listen to Rain. Well, the first thing is the piano playing is absolutely beautiful. Lots of different pressures and velocity to bring out the emotions, and just a really cool, lovely melody that it's playing. You can feel a little bit of melancholy in there and a little bit of sadness. I never heard the bass in this until I got this deluxe version, and I really like just those little bits that are being played there. And then, of course, you have, I'm not sure if that's a vibraphone or a Celeste, but that, just these really nice sort of glass-like sounds that you hear really just kind of round out the overall emotion and give you something that's not just piano. I don't know about you guys, but I've heard so many just piano things that for the most part, I'm really just tired of the piano instrument. It's a beautiful thing, but it's been kind of overdone for me anyway. There were a couple of albums that my friend James Sizemore put out that actually kind of reinvigorated my love for piano a little bit. But for the most part, it's like so much has been done on piano. I like some other things in there as variety, but since Heep isn't a band that relies heavily on piano, just uses it here and there, it's actually really nice. And most of the time it's in the background anyway. So, but I think for this song, I think it's just the perfect instrument for this kind of thing. If I was writing this song, I probably would have used a piano myself. And just a great, great start to the song.
It's raining outside, but that's not unusual. But the way that I'm feeling's becoming usual. I guess you could say the clouds are moving away from your days and into mine.
Now we have the vocals coming in, which is really just furthering the emotion that you're hearing in the piano, starting to tell us the story of what's happening in the song, but just that beautiful, gentle delivery. It's sort of halfway between whispering and halfway between singing. It's singing, it has tone, but it's so much breathier and lighter. Really just the perfect choice for this.
Now it's raining inside. It's kind of a shame, and it's getting to me, a happy man. Why should you want to waste all my time? The world is yours, but
it's really interesting, the placement of things in this song. The bass is very busy. It's doing a lot of stuff, yet it doesn't really seem to distract. It's very low in the mix. It's almost more like you feel it or kind of notice it without really paying attention to it. But it's really fascinating, the use. And also, with the Celeste or vibraphone, whichever it is, same thing. It's not playing all the way through. It's very strategically placed. Very interesting, but I think it really helps the song flow without being distracting at all. Nice little enhancers, putting some extra color in the song, but certainly not anything that's distracting by any means. It's very, very skillfully done.
rain, rain, rain in my tears, measuring carefully my years. Shame, shame, shame in my mind. See what you've done. See what you've done to my life. See what you've done to my life.
It would be so easy to take a song like this and say, oh, let's just do this, or let's add that, or let me just try this or put this in there, and then end up overproducing or, over instrumentalizing and just, I don't know if that's an actual word, but you know what I mean, ruining the song because you're trying to do too much with it. The beauty of this song is the simplicity of it. It's exactly what I love about music. It's purely about the emotion, purely about the sentiment, and just portraying it in a very simple and straightforward way so that you're not distracted with a bunch of sounds. Interestingly, I found places where you can get guitar tab for this song, which is fun because there's no guitar on the song, but I imagine it's just playing the piano melody on guitar, which would be interesting to hear. Certainly not something I would be able to do by any means, but there's no guitar, no drums on the song. It's just the three guys, and very, very skillfully done. It's a beautiful song. It's musical beauty and simplicity is the best way I think I can describe it. And I think that's really the best way to say it. Now, there is a second version. Once again, it's just an unreleased edited version, just little bits of the instrumental sections clipped out, really. Vocal sections shoved together a little bit more. So, once you've heard this version to hear an edited version, especially of a song like this, you're really missing out. Those little piano passes in between the vocals are so important for really drawing in, letting you breathe from the story, but just drawing you in emotionally. And without those, it's good, but it doesn't have the same effect, I think. But again, if you heard that version first, you wouldn't know any different. That's all you would have to base it on, and it would probably be just fine. But once you heard the full regular studio version, then obviously you would have those extra elements in it. It's interesting to me how many of these albums, now this is the fifth one that I've worked with on the show, and how many of these albums, the bonus tracks are edited, unreleased versions of these songs. I don't know who spent so much time editing songs that were never destined to be released, but that's a lot of work, man. You're talking about tape splicing and, bouncing from one tape to another, and it's a lot of effort. And you make one wrong razor blade cut and you really have a lot of work to do to reassemble it and then cut it where you were supposed to. And sometimes you're talking some really thin slices of tape. It's not a fun job. It wasn't a fun job back then. It's very tedious, precision surgeon-like work. And I really feel for whoever spent all this time cutting these edited versions together for basically no reason. So no reason to play it here. There's nothing new in it. There's no different mix. It's exactly the same. So no frills or surprises there. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the song. It's certainly one of Heap's more beautiful and elegant pieces, I would say. Just skillfully crafted and performed as far as I'm concerned. So that's it for this one, guys. That kind of quick, but it's a short song. It's in and out, just into the beauty and out. And there it is. So thank you guys very much for joining me for this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magicians Podcast. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. It's kind of a melancholy note to end the weekend on, or to end the week on, isn't it? But that's the way it fell on the schedule. So hopefully it will be raining on Friday wherever you are. If you love the rain, and you can just enjoy it and listen to the song and delve in its beauty. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week as we continue on our journey through The Magician's Birthday. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magicians Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!